The Tea with Novi and Jordy.
I'm so listening to this.
I only do bougie.
I honestly don't really like anyone.
Because fuck everyone else.
I'm a bad bitch. I'm just letting my lashes grow.
If it's not pink,
And glittery?
we don't want it. This was not on my itinerary.
Don't be such a fucking brat. Oh my god.
Hey, brats. Welcome back.
Episode 5.
We have a guest with us this week.
Yo.
Everybody welcome Jesse Douglas, also known as my dad.
Good old Jesse.
Let's start this out with bottoms up. Cheers. Oh, every time. So, normally we would have a hot topic for you, but
We don't.
Yeah.
Nothing popped off this week.
not really. Well, let's get into it and just kind of what we're going to talk about this week. These next 2 weeks are kind of
Interviews on each other. So you guys can get to know each of us on a more personal level, I guess you could say.
yeah.
So this week we'll talk about Jordan and her dad.
That's me.
And that's you. And why Jordan is the way that she is.
Yeah.
Congratulations, world.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be real fun, especially with my best friend and my dad who, yeah. So this should be fun.
Jumping right into it. Jordan, how was moving different schools growing up with your dad on the road and never meeting him?
Well, I didn't meet my dad. I met him on and off throughout my life until I was 12. But, my dad lived a very on-the-go life all the time.
Still does.
Very much still does. And, maybe this podcast will give you a little bit of an insight on why he is always on the go and just, constantly on the move. I didn't really understand that growing up until I was an adult, but once I became an adult and actually got to know him and why he is the way he is, which is he's not a bad guy. He's just he's particular, and you have to particularly know him to understand him. So it was hard until I actually understood who my dad was, if I'm going to be honest with you, because my mom, and we'll probably get into this, I'm sure, with your questions. My mom was not a good mom at all. She didn't put me in good situations. So, I earned for not only a dad, but a mom, until I was 12 years old. And I finally moved in with my dad when he came off of the road. So.
Was it always hard being the new kid in school?
No, fuck no. No, I made a lot of friends.
You liked being the new kid?
So, like I told you, up until, middle school, I was not popular. I was not cool. I didn't have, a clique of friends. I had one friend, and her name was Kaya Stevenson. If you listen, shout out to you, girl, because you were one true friend from when I was a kid. But other than that, no, I didn't. I didn't really care. I met a lot of people. And it was in this valley. It's not like I moved, states and, super far away from these people. I still live close to these people and, are friends with people from all over the valley now. So, very diverse.
For Jesse, was there a certain reason you didn't meet Jordan for so long? And is there any guilt you have over it?
Guilt, because I don't live with regret. But I will say this. I felt it was necessary to go and better myself so that I had something to offer my daughter. The lifestyle that I lived when Jordan was young was not going to be beneficial to her. I see a lot of situations where people value presence over quality. And I got news for you. There are parents who are present, and I wouldn't give two fucks for any of them. Right.
Facts.
So the reality is I needed to make myself a better person so that I had something to offer Jordan, not only as a father, as a mentor, and just as somebody who she could look up to in their life. I'm a firm believer that women need to have a positive male role model, because they need to know what it is that they need to look for in a man later in life.
100%.
Okay, that's something that a woman cannot teach another woman. And I know that sounds a little sexist, but it's just a reality. Men need to live by example, and so that their daughters or nieces or whoever it is that they influence in their life, they can know what the fuck they're looking for. They can know what their standard is, right? So I try to just make myself a better person to create a standard. Now, do I hold guilt? I wouldn't be human if I didn't. But the reality is when it was time to step up and take care of Jordan, I did. And I would like to think that that's why we are so close and have such a bond now.
For sure.
For sure.
Also, the fact that, like, when I did move in with my dad, he was dating a girl, but for the most part, it was just me and my dad for a very long time. Like, I mean, only me and my dad. And
These bitches out here.
I mean, don't get it twisted. My dad was a bachelor with a teenage daughter. I mean, he was like, you do you, I'll do me, but I'm still your parent. But we bonded over a lot of things. Basketball, he showed me my love for basketball. He helped showed me that that was something that I was good at and I wanted to do, even though I fucked it off for myself in high school due to boys and just things I had going on. So, regret, a lot of things I did in high school, but here we are.
Here we are. How was life growing up with your mom?
I mean, to think back on it, very chaotic and very on the move, but not on the move in the way you want to be. On the move in the way I lived in 15 different apartment complexes per year type of thing. We lived in every single apartment complex in Grants Pass. It got very, very, very chaotic. I love my mom and I love the things that she did teach me, which was what I didn't want in life and how I didn't want to be a mom. That's, kind of all I can say. Past it, she was an addict my whole life. I never knew my mom sober. I maybe knew her sober for 3 months when she went into rehab. And then when she finally got out of rehab, it was go time again. I never really knew my mom.
That's rough. I feel like it's the same way because it's just different because it's with my father. So
Right.
It's crazy. What was the story of when you found out that your mom passed away?
When I found out that my mom died, I was at my grandma B's house and I was in the guest room there, which kind of took as my room as well. And so I had a room at my grandma's. I was sleeping in there and I heard my grandma scream at the top of her lungs. And I don't know, we've all had very close people pass away. When somebody passes away, you know before you know. You just know.
It's like the worst scream that you hear.
Ever. At first I thought she was laughing. And I
thought she was laughing.
I did. And I came out of the room and I opened the door. My grandma B and my Aunt Danielle didn't know I was there. I opened the door and I stepped in the hallway and they both, their faces dropped. And I could tell something was wrong. I couldn't tell to the extent of what was wrong. And so I got in the car with my grandma and my aunt and we were on our way to my mom's apartment complex. And the only thing I heard my grandma whisper to my aunt was, "You need to call Jesse." And, ooh, bringing on the waterworks. And we pulled into...
You're going to make me cry. Stop.
We pulled into my mom's apartment complex and I had thought my Aunt Margie, I had thought something was wrong with her. And then I saw her walk into the parking lot. And we parked and both my aunt and my grandma told me to stay in the car. And when I saw my Aunt Margie walk up to the car, I knew. There was an ambulance, there were 2 detective cars, there was a cop car, and my aunt came to the car door, opened my car door, swooped me up and just grabbed me in her arms and then took me out, and I asked her what was wrong, and she looked at me and told me my mom was gone. And I then pushed her off of me, went to book it through all of the detectives and try and run up the stairs to my mom's apartment. And the second I did that, a cop swooped me up at the end of the stairs and told me that that was the very last thing that I wanted to see at that moment. And then my dad showed up, and I have never ran into my dad's arms faster than I did that day. and it was a lot. My mom ended up passing away from a drug overdose, and it was rough, but a long time coming. I know a lot of people who have addicts as parents tend to wonder when they're going to get that call and when that call is going to come in that they're gone. And at that point, it was horrible. It was horrid. But now there are days where I have comfort in knowing that she's not in pain anymore and that I'm not going to get that call because I already did. Right. And it was when I was so young that it almost has become just a part of my story in my life. And especially the mother that I am, it's made me into, because I strive to be everything that my mom wasn't for me.
Right. So. That's insane.
Yeah. Thanks, November. I'm gonna
gulp
the rest of this shit down. Way to bring on the fucking sad shit.
There's the drink button. Jesus.
Literally.
My bad, guys. We're gonna get a couple of those. Okay, so this is kind of sad too, but who is your first kiss?
Gage Graves. And for those of you who don't know, Gage Graves also passed away.
Due to suicide.
He did. Yeah, he committed suicide. And he dated two of my really good friends. One, Stephanie Rowe. Shout out to Steph. We love her. And then my other really good friend, Haley Wagner. So that was a really rough loss for the entire valley, I'm sure. And, shout out to Gage for sure. Yeah, I was with my friend Ariel, my cousin. Oh, he's kind of like my cousin. His name is Jake. He was dating my friend Ariel, and me and Gage, and we were at a park in Central Point. And this same day, Jake was trying to impress Ariel and do a backflip off of the swings. And he ended up backflipping off of the swings onto concrete, and he broke his two front teeth.
Shut up.
I swear to God.
So sidebar, I was there when he came home and had to tell his mom and dad. And they had to take him to the dentist to get the replacement.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I never knew that about Jake.
Yep. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You would have never even known.
Right.
Listen, we had jokes for motherfucking days.
Right. So, yeah, that was my first kiss and kind of, the situation of it. So.
How old were you?
I was in 5th grade.
What?
Shut up, Dad. November didn't have her first kiss until 8th grade.
I was a fucking angel, bro. Fuck you.
How the tables have turned.
No, literally. I don't know. I'm a fucking turtle in its shell until you get me out of the shell, and then game over. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was your biggest bully?
My biggest bully of them all?
Yeah.
I want to say Ray, but yeah, I think it was Ray. I mean, girl version, I didn't have any really, I had girls who didn't like me and who I didn't like still, but I didn't have any girl bullies. Boys were mean to me.
The fact that Ray Crawford bullied us both and he's 4'11".
He looks like a dweeb.
Try to bully me now, I'll whoop your ass.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact about Ray Crawford. There was an article that was put out about him. He lives up in Portland now, I think. He got robbed while he was on the street because, he's in the game. And he got robbed and put in the hospital. And
Karma's
he got
a fucking bitch.
Right? He got his fucking ass beat.
Karma sucks.
Look into that.
Maybe you shouldn't bully people all through fucking school.
Right. Karma's a bitch.
All right. Most embarrassing story you thought you'd take to the grave?
Do I need to put earmuffs on here? What are we doing?
No, Dad. Most embarrassing story. Well, I wouldn't say I'm going to tell mine because I'll let my dad take that one. But I could tell one of my best friend, Shasta.
You're a dick.
So my dad and my husband, they travel for work. They're videographers around the country.
Filmmakers.
Filmmakers. And this guy. And they were coming back from a trip, and Christian and I were just chilling at home. You know, he had just gotten home. I mean, like, maybe an hour. And, you know, he's like, how have things been? You know, things have been good while I've been gone. And, you know, he's like, how have things been? You know, have things been copacetic? And I'm like, yeah, things have been great, dude. Like, things have been rocking. And then I get a call, maybe 5 minutes later, from Shasta. She's like, bro, you got to come save me. I'm like, what do you mean, come save you? She's like, I just high-centered my car in the Burger King drive-thru.
Shut the fuck up.
Mind you, I'm blonde. Like, I'm actually a blonde. So I don't know what high-centered means.
Shut the fuck up, Jordan.
I swear to God. And so I look at Christian and I'm like, what does she mean? Like, what does she mean she just high-centered her fucking car? And he's like, she means she drove her car like up over a curb, and the middle of her car, you know, where it scrapes. And I was like, no. And I was like, how did you high center your fucking car? She was like, my mom and I were getting in a fight, and she went to take off with my keys, which if you take off with my keys in the car, my car's not going to work, and I'm just going to shut off in the Burger King drive-thru. And so I just sped off. I tried to drive over the curb because there was somebody in front of me, and I couldn't go over the curb, and now I'm stuck. I was like, did you call somebody? And she was like, I think they're going to call the cops. They did. The cops came and got her car off.
Oh, they called somebody.
Yeah. They had to call the cops. They had to call the tow truck. They had to stop the whole Burger King drive-thru for Shasta. And then she drove her car to my house and laughed about it and moved on with her day.
That's literally Shasta, though. Like, if anybody knows Shasta or knew Shasta, that explains Shasta to a T.
Yes, it really does. Shasta was very, you know, send it, impulsive.
Impulsive as fuck.
You know, her intrusive thoughts took over every time. So,
yep.
Yeah.
All right, Dad. What do you have one about Jordan?
All right. So, when Jordan was young, we don't even need to say who I was dating. I was dating somebody, right? And this person had told Jordan when we bought her school clothes that she was not to wear a specific pair of pants. Right?
They were my...
So, this person had told her, hey, listen, I mean, I agree.
Not only that, when they're $200 jeans, bitch, I'm a worm.
Regardless, she was told not to wear them. And so, Jordan being Jordan, especially at that age, thought she was slick. So, she has, at the time, what was kind of her de facto stepbrother with her. On their way to school,
I didn't like this guy.
She had worn...
He never had my back from the fucking get-go.
She had worn an extra pair of pants over these pants, got down the street from our house, tried to hide behind a car.
Mind you, they thought it was weird in the morning anyways. They were like, bitch, you're going to wear sweatpants to school?
So she has Marcus, and Marcus was not, let's just say, the sharpest knife in the drawer. So Marcus is just like, oh yeah, of course I'll watch out for you. And he's like watching butterflies and doing this and doing that.
No, so listen, my dad and so-called girl leave. And, well, actually, my dad leaves for work because my dad had to leave for work at like 6 a.m. every morning. So he was gone before I even got up. But so-called girl didn't leave until about the time that Marcus and I were leaving. So we walked to school because our school was like a minute walk away from our house.
What school?
CPE. Actually, I loved that school. I had the best teacher I've ever had in my life. I loved him. I literally loved him. Shout out to you, Mr. Lewis. Me and Raven Lee. Yes.
Mr. Lewis was dope, though.
He was.
Yeah.
Come on, you have a favorite teacher. You know you have a favorite teacher who was like, you were the one.
Not really. I didn't fuck with school.
All right.
At all, actually.
I had a couple favorite teachers. Moving on. We went to walk to school, and I was like, dog, listen. I got a pair of pants on under my sweatpants. It's not a big deal. What you're going to do is You're going to keep lookout for me. I'm going to hide behind the car because you know your mom's about to leave for work and I don't really want to get caught. He was like, dope. Okay, cool. Whatever. We're going to do it.
Watching butterflies, huh?
And he
Well,
was,
mind you,
squirrel.
This is like asking somebody who works at the gas station to figure out nuclear code complex. I mean, Marcus was just not that guy.
He wasn't with it.
You commissioned
okay?
the wrong motherfucker is all I'm saying, to watch your back.
This motherfucker used to when he used to make toast, he used to put butter on the toast before he put it in the toaster. So that the butter would melt.
Yes.
Bro, that'll start a fire. Like, what are you talking about? You're literally putting liquid in a toaster.
Yeah, but what's that say about you? That's the dude who you asked to watch your back.
True.
I mean, what did I teach you?
Anyways, so yeah, no, I asked him to keep lookout and I hide behind a car that's like on the road on the walk to school. Well, so-called girl goes to drive out of our little suburb that we lived in. And we picked a car that was kind of near the suburb. Dumb idea of mine, you know. And so I start doing my thing, you know. I start pulling my pants that are over my pants down. And so-called girl starts pulling out of our suburb. And here comes Marcus over the back of the car. Hey! Down here, pulling down her pants. Come look at her. Right? So me not knowing, you know, I'm not even paying attention to Marcus. I'm doing my thing. I'm like getting these off, shoving them in my backpack. I'm like, cool. Everybody's going to still think I'm cool. And yeah.
And then proceeded to call me at work. I'm in a meeting with one of the biggest clients I've ever had in the history of the brokerage that I worked at. And she is fit to be tied. She is not taking no for an answer. I have to come out of my meeting, get on the phone, take this phone call to find out that the 5-alarm fire is that Jordan is behind some busted-ass Buick, taking her pants down, wearing the jeans she's not supposed to wear, and being just a shitty kid, right?
I was a shitty kid.
So, with that being said, to me, lesson learned, roll with some smarter motherfuckers if you're going to get into some shit.
Makes us question you as a dad.
You guys are too close right now. Let's move on.
What's the hardest thing you've overcome?
My son. Yeah. My son passing away. My kids are my whole life. They make me who I am. And I still think about him daily and where he would be in life, where I would be in life with him. And yeah. So that was a really hard one to overcome. I don't talk about it probably to anybody.
Literally ever.
It's hard. It's really hard. It's harder than any loss that I've had. Just because, again, my kids are my life. I love them with my whole heart. I never thought I was going to have kids. If you ask any of my friends, they would tell you that you were the last person who I thought was going to be the first person of the clan to get pregnant.
Literally.
But, yeah, no, I wouldn't be where I am today without them. Or without him.
So I kind of guess this one piggybacks. How do you think your life would be different if baby boy was still here?
I think that obviously life would be a whole lot different. I lost my son 3 years ago. I lost him due to a blood clot that was in my stomach. And one of two things happen. Either your body will absorb it, or it feeds off of your bloodstream and it grows bigger. Unfortunately, mine grew bigger and it ended up growing bigger than CJ was. And so I went through a really rough bout. I bled for 4 months straight. And I mean nonstop. It wasn't like a period blood. I bled every single day, all day. Bathroom looked like a murder scene. And to the point where at the very end of it, I ended up passing out. And Christian took me to the hospital. And that's where I had to get 5 different blood transfusions. And CJ was still kicking at that point. He was still alive, still kicking, still doing good. About 2 hours after I was having really, really, really bad cramps. And I mean like birth cramps, but worse. And they were coming every 5 minutes. And at that point, I knew that either I was giving birth, which I wasn't, I was I wasn't close to term, or I was having a miscarriage. And that was my body kind of getting ready to expel him. And I was having a miscarriage. And so I went through, when you go through the whole birth experience, have the miscarriage, and then you leave the hospital without your baby.
You know what's crazy too is you lost CJ the day that Josiah was born.
Yeah. So November and I were in the hospital at the same time. November was in the other room, and
literally like 3 rooms over. She heard me screaming, giving birth to Josiah, actually.
So, yeah, it was a really rough time. And I think my life would be a lot different without him. But I'm a firm believer in God and that everything happens for a reason, and that God gave me Arya, and she's my rainbow baby. And I know that he is up there making my throne right now.
We got Bug.
Yeah, we do got Bug. And not that Bug or any child that comes after a child that you lose is a replacement or is a next off to your past child. But let me tell you, I hold on to Arya really, really, really tight. She's very close to my heart. And having a baby after losing a baby, we are going to have an episode that comes up, and I have a very sweet girl who's going to come on and kind of talk about her experience with that and her experience with infertility and kind of what she dealt with in that aspect, because, you know, that's a whole world that you and I don't really understand of being infertile. But it also goes into a world of miscarriage, and a lot of women go through that, though they don't talk about it. Half the people you look at have gone through that, and you wouldn't know because they don't say anything. So it's rough, but I'm sure that a lot of people can relate because it's something that I have chosen to deal with on my own, and is why I don't talk about it. And I'm sure it's why a lot of other women choose to deal with it the same way.
My question is, it's a two-parter. What do you think now that you're a parent? Because, you know, it's kind of the age-old thing of once you become a parent, you go, oh, fuck, now I know what he was talking about.
100%.
So
every day.
Right? So what did I do right and what did I do wrong now that you're a parent in your eyes? Because when you're a kid, you know everything. Everything revolves around you.
I have some good famous lines of Jesse's that I use now.
I can't wait for this.
Biggest one. So my dad was a bachelor, right? So he wanted his home clean when women came over.
Oh, hell yeah.
And who do you think was the cleaner? Right? And so, anytime that my dad would have me go to clean, my famous line, which is my daughter's new famous line, that's not mine.
Oh my God.
Why would I clean that up? That's not mine. I didn't dirty it. I don't give a fuck if you dirty it. What's this roof over your head that I pay for? What's those chicken nuggets that you're munching on?
The motherfucking lights come on when you hit the switch. That's your shit.
Right. I just hired you as one of my executive employees, Adeline. The whole, chores thing. Not chores, but, teaching you responsibility at a younger age with things like doing chores. Another thing I think you did right was I never had a woman in my life who was like a mother figure, a woman figure, and anything like that. But my dad, not that a man can do this or a woman can do this, but my dad did a good job at playing both roles and keeping in the first so-called woman who we were talking about. She taught me a lot and a lot of good things. She was very strict, and it's why I hated her. I hated her growing up. And it was because she was the very first woman in my life to ever try and give me stability. Ever. Trying to give me discipline, try and teach me actually how to do my makeup or anything like that. And I was 12 years old and had done whatever the fuck I wanted and listened to whoever the fuck I wanted at that point. And so it was just my way or the highway. And that's not the way to live. But when you're a teenager,
Still her way.
shh, when you're a teenager, you
What?
you have this masked perception of life. Like things are so much different when you're a teenager. Like boys, you break up with a boy, it's the end of the fucking world. You were gonna, and the fact that you guys broke up, it's like, oh my God. Now I look back on my, 7th grade relationships and I'm like, well, Tommy with the fucking glasses wasn't all that bad, I guess. So
What are
that
things he did bad?
I don't think my dad has this perception now because everybody grows through experience. But another famous line of my dad's, and kind of something that he in the older generation portrays, because I know November can kind of agree with this with her mom.
I know exactly what she's about to say.
You are a child. You do not deserve my respect. But I am an adult and I am your parent, so you will give it to me.
Bitch! No, you ain't. You ain't getting shit.
We are all human. And whether or not you are a child, you are a man, you are a woman, you are 75, I don't care who or what you are. Until you disrespect me, you are going to get respect from me. I don't care the age, the race, the number, the anything. And that's just from my life experiences, what I've learned, and especially from my childhood. I had a lot of people who didn't respect me just because I was a child and didn't respect me in the way of my time, which is I should be treating her as a child. I shouldn't be putting her, my mom per se is what I'm mainly getting at. I shouldn't be putting her in situations that children shouldn't be in. So my experiences, as do everybody's, make you who you are. And that was probably the one and only thing I could tell you other than, being gone. But I know you now, and I know that, and I want you to touch on this after I'm done saying what I say, why you were gone, why you were so on the go, why you were so money hungry.
That was one of my questions, is why you're so money hungry.
So yeah, let's piggyback off of that and we can go on to that. Yeah. Why are you so not necessarily money hungry? Because
that seems rude. Like, you're not money hungry, but there's a reason why you are
ambitious.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to use the word
that. My dad is just a very wise man. Like, I know November can agree with me on that about probably anything that you could bring up to him. He could have a fact that he throws back.
All right, so I wouldn't say that I'm money hungry. Ambitious is a great word because ambitious has such a broad definition to it. And what I mean by that is you're talking to somebody who, at the age of 5, lived in a Volkswagen. Okay, God bless my mother. But until I was about 12 years old,
Rest in peace, Grandma.
Right, love you, Ma. But you wasn't fucking getting it done. Right? So I can remember a time where she would drive us to the local AM/PM in Rancho Cordova.
Stop.
And I, at 8 years old, would have to go in and ask them if they were throwing the burgers and hot dogs and the stuff of the day that would be outdated. Well, they would just throw it all away. So we would go in there and take it from them. And that's what we would eat. We would eat the throwaways that they weren't going to be able to use in the morning. That basically woke me up to be what I would like to call a hustler. I mean, by 10 to 12 years old, I was rolling around the city with a bus pass and a backpack full of clippers doing haircuts at the park, at the basketball courts.
Right.
Before high school dances, that was a huge market for me. So my ambition has always been to want to not be in those situations ever again. Right. So
right.
You could call it trauma, you could call it PTSD, whatever you want. Motherfuckers just don't like being broke. Straight up. So if that's money hungry, riddle me this, label me that, right? So,
though my dad was gone, the first 12-ish years of my life, I was never broke. He made sure that though he was gone, I was taken care of.
So I mean, that's kind of to further my point. Like, I guess since you were born, um, I've never ever once, not one day from that day till right now, been in a situation where I have to win. If I lose, a whole lot of people lose. There's so many people that depend on me. And when you carry that in your everyday walk of life, um, it just makes you a whole other animal, right? Couple that with the fact that I'm like a shark, man. I gotta have water through these gills. If I'm not moving at all times,
My dad
I
is a
am not
very
the motherfucker you
metaphoric
want to be around.
person.
You do not want to be around me if I have to sit still because it's just not my gig, right?
You and your metaphors. He told me one metaphor, and maybe a lot of people could take off of this one about a mountain. I tell you this all the time.
Well,
This,
yeah.
this is my
Because
favorite
to me,
metaphor.
it's one of the more important ones
Which
in
is
life.
crazy
So-
because she gave me this metaphor and it made so much sense.
So when you go through life, you could look at life as this big old your Mount Everest, right? This biggest mountain in the world. And
She didn't know where Mount Everest was.
I thought it was in China. Or
No,
it
you thought
is in China. I thought it was in
Fucking Nebraska or some shit like that.
I thought it was in Colorado. Anyways, you have this mountain, right? And this mountain is your so-called metaphoric life.
Well, I mean, the basis behind that theory is this: is if you look at the mountain as a whole to be climbed, it could be very overwhelming. It
Right.
could be debilitatingly. Seems insurmountable, but if you just grab it one rock at a time, next thing you know, you're halfway up the fucking mountain. You don't even realize it,
Right.
right? So when you compartmentalize how you approach tasks in your life, goals that you put out in front of you, if you're the type of person that gets overwhelmed with huge goals, then it would behoove you honestly to set micro goals, and those micro goals will add up to your bigger goal.
Right.
So you just have to decide the kind of person you are. If you're the type that can look at the entire mountain and go, yep, I got this, and you charge up the mountain, great, wonderful. The rest of the 90% of us humans on the planet don't work like that.
Right.
Right? So we need to look.
So the rest of the normal people around here.
Right. Well, I mean, if you know out front what is going to hinder your efforts towards creating and achieving a goal versus what's going to be successful for you, you should probably latch on to and create processes that go with success.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's, to me, that theorem is so.
Just take it.
I mean,
Run
I'm the
with
type
it.
of motherfucker to just charge up the mountain, but hey, it's all good. You know what I mean? Some people just got to grab it one rock at a time and just get there.
Well, when you
I'll go with my pebbles.
right.
Well, because
Bitch.
listen, so one of my
She was like, I'm gonna throw like pebbles from the bottom of the mountain to the top and just see how far they make it before I even step on a stone.
Well, one of my other favorite sayings is, "There's plenty of geniuses working at Walmart." Right? Just because you got skills, talent, genius, if you can't execute on a plan, I don't give a fuck how smart you are. I don't care how intelligent you are. I don't care what you did in high school. This,
What
that, and
you
the
look
other.
like, anything.
Yeah, if you
Well,
can't execute a game plan, because coming up with a game plan is only half the battle. And
Right.
so many people come up with their next, oh my God, we're going to change the world with this. Then they do jack shit with it. So that is implementing that game plan and just marking and hitting your goals daily, right?
My grandpa Bruce used to work at Redwood Financial is what it was called. And he was correct me if I'm wrong, he was a financial
Advisor.
advisor.
basically, yeah. I don't know. I didn't see none of that money.
Shut up. Anyways, so he told me a story one time, and it was, more of a never judge a book by its cover type of thing. But, he said, I had a man walk in here one time, and you would have thought he was a hobo. And he walked into my office, and I said, I'm sorry, we don't give handouts here, basically.
No public bathrooms.
No, for sure, is what he was getting at. And this dude slapped $1 million check on his desk. Said, I want to open an account and I want you to be my accountant. Which just tells me that it don't matter where you work, what you drive, what you look like, anything.
Look at Adam Sandler.
Shit. I mean,
Look
all
at
of
Mark
us.
Zuckerberg. The dude's worth $500 million, and he drives a fucking '96 Acura.
That's gonna be
Period.
me.
Well, and that's my dad. My dad. You spend your money. How you gonna stay rich?
Well, it's not even about being rich. It's about like practicality.
Work smarter, not harder.
What's my time worth? Do I want to stress on having car payments and van payments and motorhome payments, or do I just want to enjoy the fruits of my labor? So
Right.
I would rather just enjoy what the fuck I got going on rather than spread myself out and be like, bro, look at my whip. That's just not me.
That's Jordan though. Jordan's like,
Hey, no,
let me go get my lips done, and I'm gonna get a new car. And
No, that is me,
No,
100%. But
She didn't get that part from her dad, clearly.
no, but I mean, I'm
I
steady.
mean, it took me a
I'm
while to
steady. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm good. Like I'm not.
It took
My
me a while
back
to
is
get
not worried about spending no money on lips and cars and nothing.
It took me a while to get there, right? Because I had caddies and BMWs and big ass houses, and then I started to
He's
realize.
the reason I have my Chrysler 300.
Yeah, I started to realize that
It's a-
this stuff is just not what brings me enjoyment in life anymore.
When you have $100,000 in the bank, but you drive a lunchbox.
I love my lunchbox.
Fuck. All right, guys. So, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
For me?
Yep.
Wow, that is a loaded question. Any superpower?
That's the loaded question out of all the ones I've asked.
What
the
Yeah, no, for me too. Honestly, that's a hard one.
Oh, fuck. I feel like that was gonna be like the easiest question I asked.
I think if I had any superpower, it would be that people see me for who I am.
Aw, stop. Way to
He's
get all
getting
sentimental.
deep and shit. Okay, Jesse.
Well, I mean, like in my business, people don't always get to see you for who you are because you're constantly having to, I deal with some pretty big clients. I deal with some pretty big accounts. And so you constantly have to have a business face on, and the people that you work with have to have the confidence in you that when you take over an account or when you create their content or when you create their film, that you're that guy. And it's like, I mean, can I have a bad day? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I take a mulligan here? So,
well, even some of the people in his life, even me sometimes I could say, like, when he has a bad day, we're like, what's wrong with you?
Well, yeah, because I'm normally a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, right? So when I'm having a bad day, it's like, I don't know if it's a superpower, but that I
This
wish
guy.
a lot. Well, I mean, let's call it what it is. Like,
He said Clark Kent during the daytime.
well, yeah, but there's a difference because Clark Kent acts like a pussy, and he's really a superhero. Where most superheroes are a pussy, and then they turn in to the
I'm
superhero.
dead.
So that's the flip dynamic. I am the latter,
I'm fucking dead.
right? The reality is if you have problems in life, the worst thing you can do is fall apart emotionally or get depressed. And I know that's hard for a lot of people.
Self-destruct.
Yeah, because you're exacerbating the problem and making it worse on yourself.
November and I both have a problem with that.
Well, you have to look at it from, like, say, a Navy SEAL. How do Navy SEALs handle when they encounter a problem? Do they fall apart at the seams? Do they, like, tear each other down? No. They breathe. They calmly and emotionally soundly figure out how to work the problem. Because they know that the worst thing they can do in a given situation when things go wrong is then become part of the problem.
Right.
So
Panic.
Something that I've always tried to instill in you, and I know that. So again, I would just encourage people who have stress and struggle in their life to try and remain as positive as you can. And here's the scientific breakdown of that. Energy is kinetic. It's neither created nor destroyed, which means that you could either positively charge yourself because we are made up of 70% energy, or you can negatively charge yourself. If you choose to charge yourself negatively, you are going to put off negative energy. You're going to stay in negative energy. All the people around you are going to be in negative energy, and of just bad, all bad. So, moral of the story, try and remain positive. Good things will happen, and the power of manifestation through positive energy is a real fucking thing. And if you don't think so, then you should probably rethink your life.
Think positive.
Yeah.
Pretty much what he's saying is that me and Jordan can never be part of the Navy SEAL or any military aspects in life.
Right.
Is really what he was trying to say.
Do not call us into the draft because we ain't going.
I can't do it. I'm breaking first step. I'm breaking.
No, Sergeant fucking what's his name is gonna look at me and be like, "Hey, you can't have that lipstick on." I'm gonna be like, "You know what? I want to go back to my old life."
Well, it also falls into who you surround yourself with.
Who
You know,
you
show
surround
me-
yourself with is who you become.
You
and
show
is
me
who
your
you
5
are.
best friends, and I'll tell you who the fuck you are. And
Period.
if you choose to surround yourself with DMBs, that's a do-nothing bitch, then that's what you're going to be.
Right.
Good thing I don't have 5 friends.
Or are a DMB.
I mean, you both got so quiet. All right, the last question is going to be for Jesse. How was Jordan as a teenager?
Oh my God.
I mean, that's a lot to unpack. Which part? So, Jordan overall was a good kid, primarily because I kept her busy. When I stopped keeping her busy and she started with the whole, I know, the prototypical teenage thing where she thought she knew everything and that,
What was my famous line? I know which one you're gonna say.
Oh, everything. When Jordan was a young teenager, everything was, that's your opinion.
I don't care if it was
And
in a
it would-
dictionary. I don't care if you could look it up on Google and it would tell you it was a fact. That is your fucking opinion.
Shut up.
Everything, November. They would come up to me and be like, Jordan, honestly, those shorts are too short. That's your opinion.
Jordan, the sky is blue. That's your opinion. 2 + 2 is 4. That's your opinion. I mean, it started becoming a game where we would just hit her with factual, actual, verifiable shit just to see if she'd say it, and she would. But that was just me having fun, right?
Straight up.
I would say that Jordan, for the most part, was a pretty good kid. You did have your patch where you kind of went off the rails a little bit. But let's call it what it is. I was kind of a gangster myself at that age, so you weren't doing anything that really shocked me.
I got kicked out when I was 15.
Yeah, and a lot of people ridicule me for that. But the reality is
I threw a party at my dad's house while my dad was out of town.
if you've ever seen the movie
While my dad...
Generation X, it was 10 times worse than that.
Like the movie?
Yeah.
Shut up.
There were motherfuckers jumping out of my second-story window onto my lawn, backflipping. And
I will forever be proud of that party.
Where was it?
You know the picture that Kate just sent you? Just sent us?
Yeah.
That house? That party? That exact party? Not that exact party. The party the night before that. And then I had
I'll
another
say
party
this.
the second.
My wife at the time was so unbelievably pissed. But
We don't
behind
have a-
closed doors, I was like, that was a good one, Dad.
Yeah, no, for
that
sure.
was a good one. I mean, I got to give it up. That was a good fucking party.
It was bad. Yeah, no, I got kicked out when I was 15, and I actually didn't move back in until I was 20 years old. I started my life at 15. I got a job.
Well, because let's face it, you were acting or trying to act like an adult. And so, well, that's where I put you.
Period.
My mom did the same thing to me at 15. So
Plus, I didn't want to go to jail. I was going to fuck you up if you kept
Well,
doing
my
what you were
dad
doing.
at the
So I
time-
felt it better for us to just
My
not be
dad's
around
job
each
at
other.
the time, he wasn't a videographer yet, and he had a deal. Filmmaker, and he had a deal and had worked with the sheriff's office, and so it was. My dad's done a lot. My dad's been very diverse. He went to barber school. He has been a trucking broker. He has been
Race car mechanic. I did that
Race
for
car
a better
mechanic.
part of 10 years.
which is why he films racing now, and because
or as Jordan
Both.
says, why he videos
yeah,
them now.
why he videographies.
Huh?
But yeah, I mean, yeah,
She
I
wasn't
guess-
a bad kid.
She wasn't a bad kid. She was just misguided. But honestly, it didn't last very long. The one thing I did tell Jordan when she turned 20.
I went through a lot of shit through my teenagehood.
Yeah, and when she turned 20, I basically sat her down and said, look, you're not in jail. You don't have bad credit. You haven't fucked your life off so much that it's going to take you a decade to get it back. You could literally just stop being an asshole, get your shit together, and tomorrow start with a fresh slate and have your whole life ahead of you like anybody else who got straight A's, never partied. So she didn't do things that irreversibly or debilitated her life going forward. So the way I looked at it is, hey, we all have fun. We all do our thing. But you didn't fuck up so bad when you were doing that you caused yourself long-term
detriment.
right. And so that being said, it's kind of like getting away with something and you don't get caught, right?
But
And
you
you
know
just
that
don't
you
ever
did.
fucking do it again. Thank your lucky stars.
Well,
and
not
move the
only that,
fuck on.
piggybacking off of that is there were a lot of things that like you do in life, right? And you don't really get caught for it, but you know in your soul, you're even doing yourself a dishonor because, I've learned. Not only have I been through a lot of shitty things, I've been a shitty ass person a lot of times in my life. I think you guys can both agree with that.
I think we all
you
have.
said it.
I think
so.
we all have. I mean,
Well, yeah, and
Jesse's so positive. I'm over here like, bitch, you said it. I'm glad one of us did. Shit.
well,
I
think
love who I am now, so
Yeah,
you can fucking fuck off, November.
Well, I think the person who can sit here and say, "Yeah, I was a fucking piece of shit, mook motherfucker," but now I just don't live like that.
Right.
Like, that's somebody who took what happened to them and they learned from it and they became a better person for it.
Like after my car accident, my life like changed. Like I legit saw my life flash before my eyes, and right after that is when I moved back to Oregon, and I was like, I don't want to be alone. I want to be around the people I care about, the people I love. I want to rebuild those relationships that I've completely destroyed. I came back and I was sexually assaulted by somebody in my family when I was very, very young for a very long time. And I actually ended up coming back from Arizona. And one of the very first things that I did was opened up about that to my family. My family didn't take it very well. They completely disowned me. They don't really talk to me. Maybe a few of them do. My brother Dylan kind of still talks to me, but the rest of them are very, that would have never happened. Why, I had nothing to gain or lose from saying that. So I just want to put that out there because I know that my family probably listens to this. I had nothing to gain or lose from what I told my family, but I lost a lot. And
yeah, but you did it on your terms. You
right.
did it
So after my
honestly.
car accident, I could say that my car accident, when you almost die, when your life flashes before your eyes, sometimes you come back and it wakes you up and you're like, I don't want to be this person. I want to be a different person. My main goal, my main factor to navigate through life was to be a good person to people, because that is something that was never on my mind. I didn't give a fuck about who I was treating, how I was treating them, the way I was treating them, and how it made them feel. But now, I mean, maybe November can even attest to this. I'm huge on accountability now.
Huge.
Like, I probably apologize sometimes more than I should, but
It's nice because she's about the only friend that I have that genuinely like apologizes when she does wrong. I am a type, I don't apologize ever.
I don't
apologize. I don't know. And so Jordan, that's one thing that I can say that I appreciate and I'm very grateful for is that when Jordan is in the wrong or she is a fucking brat, she can 100% say sorry and she knows where she was wrong in the situation. And I think that's kind of why we became such close friends and why we're best friends to this day.
Well, don't get November wrong. I mean, she says she doesn't say sorry, but like, the type of friend she is to me, like, I don't want to have any type of tension there. And like, that's not the only reason I say sorry, because like, I am in the wrong a lot of the time. I'm a fucking brat. But she's the type of friend that like, she makes it easy for me to like take accountability with her, because I know like at the end of the day, once I'm done being a brat, once I take accountability, she's like, dog, I know, like, we're rocking.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's one thing that me and Jordan have talked a lot about too, though, is that like when Jordan is the way that she is, nothing can really, they do. If you know Jordan, you 100% know what the fuck I'm talking about. So when Jordan is the way that she is, she's not afraid to take accountability. And she knows when she's in the wrong. And I think that's what will forever make us be really good friends. Because I'm not one, I won't hold grudges on you.
November will not, like,
I don't know. You can really fuck me over in the most wild ways. And
I don't care what you do to November. Like, this girl ain't a grudge holder.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, why do you think that is? Why don't you hold grudges?
I really think it's from like my childhood, and my family. Lost a lot of people in my life, whether it's from death or from things that people have done to me. But I'll never hold you for what you've done. Everybody changes and everybody grows. So
I think we change every day.
Yeah, I don't know why I am the way that I am. My sister, she holds grudges.
Which sister of yours?
Michaela. Okay,
I
Michaela holds grudges to the death of her, and she'll tell you that too. I mean, you fuck over Michaela, it's like done, did. You
like
fucked
this
up.
Girl. Like, I'm nervous sometimes to even like go against something that Michaela says because I know that she's like
she'll write you off. She don't give a fuck.
She will.
Me and Michaela are super close, and she wrote me off legitimately for 7 years over $12 fucking. So
I never knew that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I'll put that on my questions.
My mom wasn't that way. My mom grew up very, very fucking hard. And she never held grudgement. Growing up, she always taught us to forgive and forget. And that's one thing that I won't do. I will never forgive and forget. I will always remember what you did. And yes, I won't hold a grudge over you 100%, but I will always remember what you did. And if you're going to continuously be a shitty person.
Does that change? Do you change your relationship with that person?
100%. Jordan's talked about it before too. I ride hard for the ones that I love. If 100%. You are in my circle, you're in my fucking circle, and I will literally give you the shirt off my back, the last dime in my pocket. And so when people fuck me over, it fucks with me just because it's like I would never do what you've done to me to you or anything like, but it will never make me just hate. I mean, you have to really fuck me over, and really not even that, because my baby daddy cheated on me and I don't hate him. So
we're definitely going to get into that.
I don't really know why I don't hold grudges. I think just kind of my childhood and what I've been through and the way my mother raised me.
Right. I feel like I feel that. Like, I'm not a huge grudge holder. Yes, I am.
Yeah, you are.
I'm probably one of the biggest grudge holders.
Yeah,
but
when
I finally do forgive you, if I do forgive you, but my dad has always explained to me that people have a line in their life, okay? And some people's lines are really close to their chest. Some people's lines are a mile away from their chest. And you have to learn what people's boundary line is before you start to even test the waters to cross it. Because you could be dealing with somebody whose line is not like your and I's, where like, yours is the mile long one where you forgive.
It's too fucking far, honestly.
Right. And you take a lot before you're knocked down from somebody.
A lot.
I'm probably a little bit back closer to my chest, but not fully, glued to me. My husband, Christian, is the type of person to where his line is so close to his chest. You could put a piece of gum under his shoe and he's looking at you a different way because, and not to say it's like over small stuff, but
it is.
I mean, he's been through a lot, which we all have, right. But his experiences has made him and what he takes from people a lot shorter. His stick is a lot shorter than mine, yours, probably the next person. And some people are just like that, My line is not right here, and I also can take quite a bit, but I've seen you take a lot before and we'll get into this again tomorrow, but like I always ask her, her baby daddy situation. I mean,
I don't know how I am the way that I am, and I think about it all the time. Like truly, I
tell her, I'm like, bitch, if I were in your situation, like I would be going insane due to the fact that her baby daddy is dating the girl who he cheated on her with in her house. But we'll get into that tomorrow. So to end this podcast, what was not on your itinerary this week, November?
I didn't really have any big ones. Probably, if you know me, I'm not a fucking morning person. I hate the mornings more than anything in the world. And this whole fucking week, I've had to get up at 4:30 in the damn morning. So that was not on my itinerary. Luckily, I'm on evening shifts as of next week. So that wasn't on my fucking itinerary at all. Getting yelled at by old people is not fun in the morning.
Yeah.
What was yours?
Well, and she works where she works. She works at the nicest old folks home in
Bro.
our valley. And so these are old bougie people, okay?
They're
So they're
so
mean to
bro.
her.
They're so
Like
mean.
they're
to me.
mean.
They're so
They're
mean.
like,
to me.
she tells me this all the time. She's like, their famous line is, "Do you know how much I pay to live here?"
I
Girl.
tell them every time. I'm like, yes, I do, and I didn't ask you to pay this. So why are you yelling at
For
me?
sure. Like, go take your 25 grand a month somewhere else.
Yeah. So
But I'm gonna flip flop the not on the itinerary this week and throw you guys something that I'm appreciative for.
okay.
I hit 5,000 followers on my TikTok,
Hey.
and
Makes one of us.
I just want to say how appreciative I am for every single follower, like, share, all the support. And yeah, baby, this is just a start.
What's
So.
not on your itinerary, Jesse?
I don't know. That's hard for me because I'm so like everything. I plan shit out to a motherfucking T.
Huh.
Man.
His week obviously was great, and he lives fucking rainbows and butterflies. So
I won't say rainbows and butterflies, but
I could think of a couple things, but I don't know if they're podcast worthy. So
yeah, bitch got beat up.
a bitch did get beat up, but
We don't need to say who.
we don't need to talk about who the bitch
we
got
will
beat
just
up.
say this.
But it wasn't not. That's again. It's like a plus side. It was
Right.
It was a good thing that was. on there.
Not that I condone it, but if there were ever a saying, "Fuck around and find out," this person found the fuck out,
Right.
and that's all I'll say. I'll end my part of the podcast.
Yeah. And I want to add at the end of this podcast, not on the itinerary this week, was hearing that one of my best friends from back in the day decided,
Oh my
she's
God.
in her 20s, mind you.
Like 26.
She's like 26, decided to fuck her little sister's boyfriend. Mind you, her little sister is 17 years old. So
I already fucking hate you, and I wanted to whoop your ass. It's game over now, bitch.
there's your tea for the week. We love you guys, and
I
we
just
will
want to
see
say
you.
thank you so much for coming, Jesse.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast. Plus, I kind of got drunk as shit, so we're good.
Woohoo! We did too. Cheers to that.
We'll bring him again.
Yeah, we will bring him
sometime.
on again sometime. Good to
Alright.
have you. We
I wanna do
appreciate
one
you.
with questions for him. We'll ask you the questions.
Yeah, we'll
Alright.
get in a little bit more, just kind of on your career, on your childhood.
So be prepared to come back.
Period,
I'm
bitch.
prepared.
Love
All
you
right.
guys.
That's it. Episode 5. I hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and we will see you next week. Adios.
Love you. Bye.